I wrote 5:36.
Folks are live.
Okay, welcome back and moving on to the rest of our meeting. We have a discussion item that I put in there for this evening under the Student Safety Project. About a year ago, last May, I had watched a segment on the local WPTV news, and it was about a mock crash scene that was done on one of the public school campuses in Vermont. And since then, Beekmantown has done this. And Will, you might be interested in this. So what it has done over the years here locally, maybe not anything necessarily recently, we would occasionally have a demolished vehicle brought onto school property for students to go out and look at on the premise that it was as a result of some kind of teenage car accident. I'm not so much sure that there was a lot of shock and awe with it just for high school students to walk by and see it. But what I am proposing is that Lake Placid actually does a mock crash awareness demonstration. They've done this in other communities. It could be something that is fostered through our community schools program. Typically, it would involve the local police, the fire department with Ryan, ambulance service. It would involve the drama club, because there would be a script that would be created and probably 10 to 12 students that would participate in this. The best place for this would probably be the Oval. So we would have the police department arrive there as if there had been a crash. Probably 2 cars would need to be found, maybe through the fire department or some other means. Jaws of life are recommended, that the fire department is demonstrating using the jaws of life to extract a student from one of the vehicles. The ambulance would be there, the 10 to 12 students that would be so-called student actors. Some of them would be covered in blood. Some of them would be standing there screaming. A police officer might be giving out a ticket for texting and driving while, distracted, any of those things. It's typically focused on high school students, like grade 10 to 12. But this is something as much as bringing back the driver education program that I felt was extremely important. And this is on the heels of that. I think this would be much more impactful than just having a wrecked vehicle on the Oval. And I said this to Tim. It's been almost 3 years since we lost the 2 teenagers on the Mackenzie Pond Road to a teenage driving accident that both those kids died. One of them was a student here at one point. I travel that road every day to my office, and there's not a day goes by that I don't look at that tree with the burlap around it that they tried to save, that massive tree. So if we can pull this together, however we would do this, if it even impacts one teenager from thinking about their driving habits, who they're getting in the car with, and being responsible, I think it could make a difference. Will, what are your thoughts on it from the teenage standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be, it's good to show, because I feel like a lot of the time, like I've heard about that same scenario on online and stuff. But I feel like people don't, they say, oh, well, all right, they got an accident, whatever. But if they actually see it and actually, see it act out, it might, change them and be like, oh, well, all right, maybe I shouldn't be driving, 70 miles an hour in the winter, maybe, work those cogs to be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I shouldn't get in a car with someone, so I think it's not a bad idea.
They say that from the student perspective, when they have their local peers that are the actors, and they see Johnny Smith or Susie Q, their friend, laying there, and then the funeral home or whomever comes over and puts the white sheet over their face, that some of them think like, oh my God, it's not just whatever, this could happen. And it has happened one day. So anyway, I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what first steps would be. It's a very minimal cost, but because we are community schools, these are all groups that we work with anyway, that I am pretty sure that most of these groups would want to say, yeah, we'd like to get involved, or what can we do to protect our local kids. So This is just an initial put out there for people's thoughts and how we would pull this together. I'm more than willing to help. You know, to do what I could do on my end. But I do think, whether Brendan Gotham's got time on his agenda or not, I don't know, but, and our drama club person, that would be important.
Ironically, Brendan is driver ed.
So that's-
We can get Mr.
I
Goldberg.
mean,
for it.
Brendan can write the script for us. He could write the script for us, but I just, I think that of all the things that we do with community schools, and I'm going to a pie making class tomorrow night, this is probably the most important thing I think that we could bring to our students that involve community schools.
Gentleman that coordinates it for Clinton County, they do. I think they rotate around me. I'm really good friends with them. Obviously, for occasions, so reach out for him. He coordinates
I think
the
you'd be,
entire county.
yeah.
So he has approached me about wanting to do this. So I can, maybe we can have a conference call with some.
yeah, no,
Edwards and everything.
I think you'd be a great resource, Brian. I think Chad Flynn to the police department, all of these people that we're already working with for other things, but again, Brendan is kind of like doing it all anyway, so, he could probably very easily write a script. He knows the kids that, you know, like to do drama and stuff, but, it also could be something where if you do have it on the oval, maybe you want to invite another school to come over and watch, like if it's going to be Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. You know, let some other areas, kids come over and watch, make it worth our while. And get WPTZ to come. I don't know.
I think it's, I share your view that it's really, really important. Very triggered. My experience. I want to hear really strong cases.
Yeah.
Or data about whether or not, okay, does it actually translate to?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I thank you for that. But
And that is part of it. There's a second document there that suggests that, the other component of it is after the students participate in this, and it's voluntary, you have to get parent permission slips and all that. Not everyone has to participate in it, but the follow-up with the counselors. I mean, there are other programs that,
that presupposes we do it.
yeah, yeah,
I want to hear someone make a convincing case that we should.
they've even in other communities, reached out to, and I'm not sure that we would do this here, reached out to a family that has been in a situation where they've lost a child and they have come and spoken to the students afterwards. And so there's different angles you could do it. We cannot do it. I don't know, but I think ultimately there's more good than there isn't to something like this. And again, it doesn't have to be, something where you have to do it. The parents can have their children opt out of it. But I don't know, I could be wrong. I think most parents would want their kids to participate, especially those, you know, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, because it was a very different world with text messaging and distracting learning.
And Dom, to your point, we have Dave Melnick coming on Friday, and he's he's presenting on transforming trauma to our staff, all the research. And so I will have an opportunity to discuss with him just
great.
what potential impact it could have for students who've undergone trauma, just so we're aware of that. We can vet it through the mental health team as well. Initial research I did, Colleen, since we spoke, showed, favorable outcomes for this. But people will be triggered by this.
Still,
That's its intended purpose.
No, it is. It's just like when you have someone that comes into the school and they give a presentation on their drug abuse or time that they were incarcerated or whatever, and they come into the auditorium and talk about it. And you take that group of kids and put them on the bus and take them over to FCI Raybrook or the state prison and say, come on in and do a little tour of Block A or something, makes a big difference. So, anyway, but I'm putting it out there just, out of something I hope that we could do for our students.
Did this happen when you were Principal, at any point you recall?
I remember Tina Clark, bringing in through there, it was through the county. Crash, not as probably impactful, where it's an actual trail, just, that car talking about that.
Do they also
Came in-
wear the goggles?
Correct, or they could have the goggles. And that sense that it was like it was like very demonstration.
Iron and Tim, you can see here.
Yeah, we had like it was really well received when I was at Peru. It was like one of the first years, so it's like 5 or 6 years ago. The high schoolers, everybody went into the auditorium, they did a mock skit. One of the things that I think really hit home was we used a staff member's child. So it was like one of the high schoolers was killed in a car accident and one of the teachers there in real life. So that, emotional aspect of it, and it really hit home, I think. Obviously the concerns afterwards we had our counseling team available to anybody to kind of debrief and unpack it, but it was, it hit home. I thought it was really well received. A little more personable. Yeah, I'm supportive of it, absolutely.
Why don't I give an update,
Okay.
ideally next meeting,
Okay.
both how the mental health side of the house, would approach it, and, Ryan, if I can get in connection with you and Frank, then we'll see what can be done.
Yeah, no.
Okay, great, I appreciate that. Moving on to our report section, reports to the board, Dana, the operations report, and your building condition survey update.
Sure. So last meeting, we shared with you the building condition survey that was done in 2023, as well as the work performed. So you can have an opportunity to view it beforehand. So here, we have it now, for this. And I won't go through it list by list because you can see that. But what I tried to do is I tried to highlight a couple of things, what was done in terms of where the funding came from, whether it was repair reserve or it was just, if it doesn't have anything next to it, it just means that we did it through our normal budgeting process. And you can see that if you were to compare the work performed since 2023 and building condition survey, a number of the items that are on BCS, we have ticked off, but a bunch of these things are basically things that just come up, year in, year out. But you can see that over the last, almost 3 years now, pretty active in terms of preventive stuff, and sometimes it's reactive, the compressor going down for the cooler, which we use repair reserve for. I mean, that was reactive, but some of these other things, are more preventive in nature. So, but yeah, specific questions on any of these items, put this together with the help of Dave Ingberry, our Director of Facilities, and he oversees all of this.
No, thank you. Glad we're getting stuff fixed. We're not paying with the architect wants us.
Thank you, Dana. Will, your student member report, please?
Yeah, so this is the beginning of the, spring sports season. I know some of the stuff has, started this week. I know they had a, little meeting on Friday. If it was Friday or Monday, about sports. Well, the robotics team is going to Rochester on, Wednesday after school. 3:15, so we're gonna go to competition there and hopefully we do well. I don't know, but hopefully.
Well.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's kind of been light. I mean, there hasn't really been any sports stuff. I mean, it's kind of, the end of the season, seniors out there. Yeah, seniors had one of the last games for the winter season a couple weeks ago. remember Winter Carnival, those, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, just, you know,
Yeah.
kind of been quiet.
Well, that's good. Spring break is coming.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, moving on to Tim's superintendent report, please.
Sure. So I did put some information in there just about the challenge that the robotics team will be doing. So every year they have a task that they have to develop a robot to perform. And so this year's task involves multiple robots working in concert. So it'll be interesting to see how the team does. And we usually get a link from Mr. Carlson where we can actually watch, and it's a lot of fun. So when that link gets out, I'll be sure to send it out to the board. So if you happen to catch it in time, you can watch because it's a good time. So looking forward to hearing how our kids do. On Thursday, we do have a half day for students, but that half day at the high school is all about environmental awareness. So you may recall that we had our environmental club here in the fall talking about their hope to plan this event along with the repair fair, which they held over the weekend. And so there's just a bevy of things that they have planned. They have Kurt Stager from Paul Smith's coming to talk to our kids. There's multiple panelists of Olympic athletes that are going to talk about climate change and the Save Winter campaign, which is great. They've been working with Orta to set that up. And then there'll be some micro sessions for learning, monitoring the ice on Mirror Lake, composting, sustainable food prep, farming, fast fashion, which is like upcycling basically, Adirondack wildlife, birding, and climate education. So it's going to be a fun day. I plan on parking myself at the middle high school and just taking it all in for the morning. So it should be cool. And then it is musical season. So at the conclusion of this meeting, any members who have a few moments and would like to see how our musical cast is progressing, we are welcome to go briefly to the auditorium and see how Mr. Prosper and Mr. Gotham are working with our kids. So this year's production is Crazy for You. It takes place March 19th through the 21st. And this is all music from George and Ira Gershwin. And, I'm sure we can expect a lot of fun dance and songs and top shelf performances from our kids. At the end of the meeting, if anyone has time, we can head over and check that out. I just put some info in. We're starting to get towards spring break, and after spring break, that's when we really are looking at registration and enrollment. So we're focusing more on making connections, interactions with our UPK students earlier. The last couple of years, we've run a kindergarten camp to ease the transition from St. Agnes to the elementary school, which has been great. That's in the summer. The last couple of years have been buying books for students and families to help prepare for coming to kindergarten, and we ordered those extra early this year, and we will be giving those to the kids in the next couple of weeks. A lot of them are participating in the community swim lessons, and so we're thinking we'll time it with that. But the whole point is just to try and support our UPK families and make that transition smoother. And I think when they read how, so I'm excited for that. As Colleen referenced, we have spring community classes that are starting tomorrow. So in addition to pie making with Karen Cooper, we have pottery with Miss Huber, and we also have a parent-child class, which Mrs. Franklin, who was here earlier, will be conducting, and it's a painting class. So good to see our programming starting to attract family participation in addition to adults in the community. So I'm really happy about that. Our staycation is being planned presently. The capstone of all of that over spring break will be attending the musical Frozen. So we have 35 student tickets that we have purchased for a trip to Burlington Splint Center for the Performing Arts. We're excited for that. This is our third year of staycation, and comparatively to our wintercation that we had, participation in this spring block is pretty high. So we're excited to see those kids have something to entertain themselves over the course of our 2-week break. Thursday for professional development, our departments and grade level teams are meeting. There's some unique things at the elementary school that grade level teams are doing. In particular, they're looking at report cards. So do report cards reflect the curriculum that we are now teaching through Amplify program? And is there cohesion between the grade levels? So I think that'll be good dialogue down there. And then on Friday, as I referenced, we will have Dave Milneck presenting to all district staff about the impact of trauma and how when we ourselves undergo trauma, that gives us a lens that's actually an asset that we can leverage to better connect with students who are also dealing with adverse childhood experiences. So I'm really excited to have him be present and spend the full day with all of our staff. I referenced earlier future planning as one of those touchstone sort of processes we use to take the pulse and identify areas that need to be tweaked or improved. A couple things I just want to reference because there's been a little dialogue about it that I've heard. One of the things that came up is frustration that at the end of the day, 9th period, our students who are getting out early for sports, they're missing like the last 15 minutes of class. And so there was some teams requesting that we revert back to an earlier start time. We changed the start time 4 years ago. We unified the two buildings, and the board at that time felt pretty strongly about the research, which suggested that later start times produce better outcomes for kids. And so one of the other compelling reasons for changing the start time was in our previous schedule, we had students in Wilmington being picked up just about before 6 o'clock. Now our earliest pickup is just before 7 a.m. And so given my personal feelings on it, the research and the work that the board did a few years ago in really setting that as a philosophical guidepost for our district, I've communicated within the administrative team that there really isn't a desire to change that. But what we can look at is the bell schedule at the middle high school. Presently, our middle high school homeroom is separate from first period, and the utility of that homeroom, which is about 15 minutes of time, the juice may not be worth the squeeze. And so if there's a desire to get 15 minutes at the end of the day to reduce impacts from sports, we could steal it from homeroom first period. Good ideas, and some board members who had a similar schedule gave me some insight into that, so I appreciate that guidance. So hopefully that will be beneficial. Another thing we're looking at is trying to see if we can align our cycle day schedule between the two buildings. So we have a 4-day cycle, A, B, C, D day in one building, and then we have 6-day cycle in another. And for our staff who travel between buildings, our physical therapists, our occupational therapists, things like that, balancing those two things, it's messy. So we're hoping to see if we can change that, which will be good. And then we got our usual requests for professional development and purchases, which we will factor into our planning. I think we got some good insights into future planning that will be beneficial. So that's what's happening.
Tim, I have a question because we're doing that superintendent day and everything in this. What happened unless I'm just forgetting, the staff wellness day that we used to do in the spring? Where did that go?
So that got defunded essentially. So what we're doing on Friday is the replacement of that. Our health insurance consortium, beloved as we know from our earlier conversation, they used to allot some funds for districts to have a functional wellness committee and then to do different wellness events. And the last 3 years we did a wellness day. They took that funding away in favor of an app called ThriveWell that may not have as high participation as was hoped.
Like 1%.
So we're not doing wellness day, we're
100
doing
people have.
So instead, what we're
6
doing.
hours of trauma training.
Well-
The massages and skiing. Wow.
Yeah, well, it is still all in the service of wellness because,
Yeah.
in the end, it will be beneficial for staff just as much as it is in staff dealing with students. So,
Yeah.
and having talked, like, anyone's actually interested in seeing any of this, please shoot me an email.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to have you come on Friday. The conversations I've had with Dave have been amazing. So, as painful as 6 hours of trauma discussion sounds, this guy is super, impactful and smart, and,
That's good.
he's gonna raise our stock. But yeah, so that's where the wellness day went. So.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Sure.
There's information for the board. It's that time of year where the school board petitions are up, and we do have 3 of our current board members that are up. So at some point, whatever your decision is, feel free in the future to let Karen know. I do believe that petitions for whomever are due, is it April 20th? And Karen has the petitions for anybody that's currently on the board that wants to run again, or anybody out in the community that would like to run. There's also something under executive content for you to look at as well. Minutes for under consent, under personnel, teaching staff resignation, recommended action upon the recommendation of the superintendent, accept the resignation of employee number 1059, effective March 6, 2026. May I have a motion, please?
Okay.
Any other further discussion? If not, please vote.
The vote is for them.
Sorry.
Is it working or no?
Oh dear. Okay, go ahead. Is it working?
No.
Thank you. Do you want to manually vote? I'm so sorry.
You're right. Fine.
Everyone's voting aye, yes. I did mark it right. Unanimous.
Okay, long-term teaching staff appointment, recommended action upon the recommendation of the superintendent, employee number 949 is hereby appointed to the long-term position of technology teacher beginning March 6, 2026 to June 26, 2026. Long-term sub will be paid at a per diem rate of $383.56, which is a step 18 masters plus 33. Benefits will be prorated. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussions? If not, please vote.
Okay, it's not allowing voting. So
Aye.
I abstained.
you're abstaining. Sorry.
Excuse me.
Moving into our action item section. The first item, recommended action, approve the National Educational Association Read Across America Proclamation for March 2026 as per the attached. The following proclamation reflects our district's continuing support for promoting a lifelong love of reading. May I have a motion, please?
A motion.
Any discussion?
Wait, who did the second?
Me. I was asleep at the wheel, Karen. Sorry.
Any discussion? It looks like a very fun agenda that they have.
Absolutely. Ms.
Yeah.
Kaufman does a great job with this every year.
Yeah, this looks like so much fun for the students.
All right, if you all manually vote. Aye for everyone. Thank you.
The next is our Music in Our Schools proclamation. Recommended action, approve the Music in Our Schools month for the month of March 2026 as per the attached. The following proclamation reflects our district's continuing support for music in our schools. May I have a motion, please? Motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Music team.
Yeah. If you all raise your hands if you vote aye.
You're sworn in or
Oh,
something today.
dear.
Proposition to purchase school buses. Recommended action, approve the attached proposition to purchase school buses and add to the ballot for the May 19, 2026 ballot. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Something to say.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I have a
big concern about this. I mean, I'm all in favor of it, but I just wonder what happens if the populace turns it down? And let me say, give you some reasons why I'm more concerned about that for this than other things. One is not that many people vote, period, in these elections. I mean, it's only a few hundred people, so it can go either way. I think in these times, people are very sensitive to expenses. That's another reason. The other is the way that this is worded. We have a three-part, fairly long, lengthy proposition. And if somebody turns the page over, they say, I haven't got time to read through all that. And I know you say you're gonna outreach to people and put it in there. But I think people just being what they are, to say, well, I'm here to do the budget. Never mind that, I'm not gonna read. Another thing is that we've got something north of $500,000 that's there, and that's in the first part. It says you're gonna purchase a bus, you're gonna purchase 3 buses, you're gonna do it now. And if I'm just sitting there reading all this stuff, even though it supposedly comes out of a reserve fund, and think, geez, that's a lot of money. We already got a ton of buses with declining enrollment, 500 kids, buying 3 buses, $500,000 now. Why are we doing this now? So just a combination of things. I'm fearful this could get turned down. Hope it doesn't. I hope it goes through with flying colors. But my suggestion, an idea, is that even though this is going to get published word for word in the paper, that we do an outreach program to really acquaint people. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it now? Why does it cost? Why are we buying instead of lease? And what I would suggest is, first of all, to set up something like a very simple Q&A. Why does it cost $500,000? Why 3 buses? Put this in a newsletter that goes to the parents and the teachers. So that's the main nucleus who you want to reach, and they have a lot of contact in the community. And the other is to do an interview with ADE or whoever, whatever other medium has the greatest outreach. Just set this up as a simple, why are we doing this? Because I think because of so few people vote, I mean, you're talking hundreds of people, it can go either way. And given all this stuff that I just mentioned, it doesn't take too many votes to shoot this thing down. And I mean, I understand the rationale, but most people probably don't. And I think we should do everything we possibly can to make sure that this passes in the community.
Dana, have you had anyone question, why we would be purchasing 3 like gas buses now when that whole electric mandate thing might be coming down the pipe and then?
No, this is just, we're replacing 3. So we have 3 going back. So every year we purchase our lease, whatever. It's always about replacing. Last year, we actually reduced. We had 2 go back.
Yeah.
We only bought 1.
Yeah.
This year, we have 3 going back.
You don't have to
Yes.
convince me.
This is the proposition that, we put on the ballot every year.
I don't think there's ever been too much pushback from the local community that bought this.
No, but I understand the point. It's a $500,000 you're seeing. Yes.
And I think there's a lot of controversy over the requirement to go to electric busing that I think people might be, oh, I'm not voting for that. I'm not voting for this because it's,
Yeah.
I don't believe in the electric buses, right? Like,
Yeah, you say
Just
it
to
costs
clarify
twice
it.
as much.
Well, and you, everybody in this room knows how I stand on the electric bus mandate, and I
Yeah.
will stand on my soapbox and talk to the Davis law. I like that idea because everybody that questions me about the buses, well, why are you buying buses? Well, one, it's more expensive to lease them. And
I
two,
just think we get,
we're,
we want to make sure that this does not fail. That's-
oh, I
that's the
agree.
objective.
And, two, now we're buying
It's a
them
PR thing.
and we're keeping them longer, which
Right.
historically we wouldn't. So it's actually a save the taxpayers if they look at it in the long run. We're keeping them longer because we're not gonna keep going to them every year and say, we need to buy 4, we need to buy 5, we need to lease this. We're actually gonna keep the fleet and maintenance it, but we should.
I mean,
Save that
I
money.
just think we need to do what we reasonably can to make sure that this does not fail.
Agreed. You just let them know where our point of view is.
What's the plan B?
Or 3 left buses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't do sports trips.
yeah, well.
And that's a buckle up.
No, seriously, you're right, because we have 5 buses that, we use on daily runs.
Yeah,
We have a fleet of, 11, but 2 of them are, one's a 9-seater, one's a 24-seater.
Yeah,
So
but
the gallon is
if the-
right.
if the
Yes.
mandate sticks, which it may not,
Right.
we're gonna be in a worse situation a few years from now.
Well,
We Try to get under the wire
I think your electric bill was high as fuck there.
to buy it now.
I'm
Right?
being honest, if they go through with this mandate, which, the stranger things have happened. I mean, if you think that the electric bills were higher this month because we're using more power, I cannot wait to see what it would cost to put a charging station and use an electric bus and what it would cost the taxpayer.
Maybe I'm just too sensitive about this, but I know that things could run the wrong way.
Well, I think you're coming at it from a good angle.
Blindsided.
Give
Doesn't
as
hurt to
much
get
as-
something out there.
As much information and transparency as possible, this is why we're doing it.
You could send,
Yeah.
the newsletter to the parents,
Because-
do an interview with the ADE or
Well,
whatever.
and the enterprise does, and the Sun Community, they do a regional overview of all the different budgets. And
Yeah,
They usually reach
They
out.
call Dana and I, and so we will definitely color this accordingly.
yeah, I think not just here's the verbiage. What's the rationale?
Right, what's the board thinking?
Points. Why
3
3
more buses.
buses now?
Yeah.
And buying the 3 buses.
We don't want electric.
Yes.
Right,
Well, no, but probably a lot of people don't know that this mandate is coming down.
But should we entertain amending the proposition to say gas powered buses as opposed to just buses?
I think that's gonna beg the question.
I don't see the harm in saying that we
Yeah,
have
it
to
doesn't-
purchase
it
3
doesn't
gas
hurt.
powered buses. I mean, I of all people, and especially this board, have stood on that pulpit and say, we're not willing to risk the safety of our children to put them in an electric bus. And if we have gas powered buses, that fleet is well maintained because we have a crack staff down there. We have a maintenance contract. We're asking to approve these to make sure the sports runs happen and the school runs happen and the kids get to the plays and all the stuff that we do. And, whatever we can, like John said, whatever we can do to tell them our rationale from our point of
Well,
view, because people don't want.
It's a proposition, it doesn't come out of the fund balance, but it doesn't say all of that money is gonna come out of the fund balance, and how much is left in that for, excuse me, the reserve. I mean, what you said earlier is we've got twice that much in there now. That's a point worth saying, that it isn't really gonna cost us anything. We're not eating this, and it's not in exchange for teachers and education. I mean,
We're happy to message that way.
Yeah,
John,
I mean,
and
I-
Colleen and I draft a letter, for our budget, newsletter that we send out, and happy to incorporate language in that too. Just to
I mean,
make clear the rationale for the purpose.
I don't know how many people read the ADE. I mean, they've got new ownership now and seen in there recently. They've got some pretty long, articles in there, more so than they used to. But I don't know. Maybe people don't share my sensitivity.
So I think it's important, I do, because I think there's a lot of mixed opinions and viewpoints on it, especially with it's a tighter budget, it's gonna be, and especially years down the road, I would get ahead of it.
No, sir.
Please vote.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions?
Were we good? we're going to add gas power. Was that part
There
of?
wasn't a motion for it, so there's a motion to amend.
So do you have to call Joan?
No.
No,
I mean, literally just adding three words. It doesn't change the meaning of.
I think it should just be assumed it's a gas powered bus. It's not implied that it's an electric bus. I don't personally think the extra verbiage is necessary, but that's me.
Whatever you guys want.
I would put gas.
I mean, I can't hurt, and
Yeah,
I think
if
that,
you want it to pass.
yeah. I agree.
Moving on, the next item is the E.M. Cooper Memorial Library Proposition Resolution, recommended action. Motion to add the proposition of the E.M. Cooper Memorial Library to the May 19th, 2026 ballot as follows. Shall the trustees of the Lake Placid Central School District adopt the funding for the E.M. Cooper Memorial Library, which is raised by the annual levy of a tax upon the taxable real property with the Lake Placid Central School District of $17,640. May I have a motion, please?
I vote.
Second.
Any discussion? Always a very nominal fee, so it's
Yeah.
pretty
it's
easy.
$217. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Any noes, any abstentions? Thank you very much. Step one.
Next item is donation acceptance, recommended action, whereas the Lake Placid Central School Board of Education Policy 6255, donation, gifts, and grants to the district allow to the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500. Whereas monies have been granted as follows: Adirondack Community Foundation / Adirondack Foreign Language Enhancement Fund in the amount of $3,000 for the Quebec Immersion Week, host families, classes, and camps round 2. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts a check from the Adirondack Community Foundation / Adirondack Foreign Language Enhancement Fund in the amount of $3,000. May I have a motion, please? Motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
All in favor, please say aye. Any noes, abstentions? Thank you. 7, yes.
Special education was under consent. Moving on to linking goals with agenda items. Something? Students first and foremost with the mock crash simulation possibly. Finance with our budget presentation earlier. Any other ones? If there's any that come up later, feel free to reach out to Karen. Moving into the second bit of the cause, there's no one here in our audience. Karen, anyone online? No. Moving into our adjournment phase. Our next meeting date is March 24th. We will have another budget work session at 4:30. Any old agenda topics? Any new ones? Recommended action, a motion to go to executive session to discuss tenure recommendations, please.
Is that,
May I have a
that's not
motion?
what it said.
Down.
That's what mine says.
For the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person. Oh, I see. I see what the problem is.
Oh, it's not.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, it
in the
doesn't
subject line.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Proposed executive session subject, oh, never mind. For the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person and, I don't know.
Did I got copy over copy?
Yeah, anyway, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Sorry.
Anyway.
That was Ryan, and who was the second? Okay.
please vote.
All in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Karen, 624.
Thank you.
Okay.